Hey, you're now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast with your hosts Todd Fox and Fernando the Lone Star Halo, brought to you in part by Noble L Works, just outside of Anaheim Stadium and the Pond, or the Honda Center, where you can get drink specials just by mentioning Halos in the Infield. Also brought to you in part by 714 Tickets. 714 Tickets is a place to go to get 10% off of any ticket purchase just by also mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show. Hey, it's Todd Fox here on Halos in the Infield podcast. I'm your host. I'm going solo today, but not really, because we have a special guest from Bourbon and Baseball. You want to introduce yourself, Miss Suzy?
Hey, thanks so much for inviting me over here, Todd. I really appreciate it. Hi guys, I am Suzy from Bourbon and Baseball. I'm that iconic that I just go by Suzy. Like you don't have to know my last name. It's just no, I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, so Suzy from Bourbon and Baseball, typically an Astros fan, but will talk about all of the baseball teams, love all the baseball teams except for the Dodgers and the Yankees. And just love talking ball with people, especially those that don't like the Dodgers.
See, she's a woman of our passion, people. I mean, look, she may be an Astro fan, but I'm looking past that because she's a very knowledgeable baseball fan. She knows her stuff. She's had many conversations with all kinds of sportscasters and other baseball fans talking other teams. But what we wanted her perspective on in this show was talking about not only the Houston Astros and what they're doing because they've had a lot of changes, but our AL West. What's it going to look like this season? You know, obviously free agency just got started, but there's been some big bangers, and none of them gone to the AL West. They've gone away from the AL West, it seems. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll also just talk about the Dodgers just being like, like what's that super, not the superhero, but the super villain from the Marvels movie,
Oh, Thanos.
Thanos. I mean,
Yeah.
I blanked on that, but they're getting all the Infinity Stones. We got to stop it somehow. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, they're trying now. They're trying.
Yes, they are. So,
Yeah.
Suzy, what we want to get into first, and we'll talk about, and those topics were in no particular order, but we'll talk about the AL West. Now, obviously, the Houston Astros, your team has had a lot of success over the last decade or so, just
Yep.
about. And I think it's not, the normal Angel fan, the non-Halo honk will understand we have a 9-year drought largely because of you guys. And, and what do you guys see moving forward with Dusty Baker being gone? Will there be a culture change? I mean, you guys had a good year, but under Astros circumstances, not as good as you guys were expecting, right?
Yeah. So for all of the Halo in the infield fans here, if you guys don't, obviously, if you've not listened to any of our shows over at Bourbon and Baseball, I have been a long time proponent of, we won the 22 World Series in spite of Dusty Baker and not because of Dusty Baker,
Hmm.
and that caused a rift between Astros fans and I. Um, this last season was a rough one for Astros fans, especially fans like myself that knew how badly we've been mismanaged, and I just say hallelujah for our new manager, Josue Espada. We love Joe Espada. I've been advocating for him to be our general, or our manager, excuse me, for like years now. I really wanted, after that 22 World Series, for Dusty to like ride off into the sunset and just enjoy his winery and, like bask in the glow of that World Series win. Um, and be content with that and just let Joe Espada take the reins. And unfortunately, he didn't do that. And he really handicapped one of our really promising young rookies. And unfortunately, there's like a soundbite out there saying that the city of Houston would thank him for the way that he treated, quote unquote, like raised up, Yainer Diaz, and that's just not a thing that we want to do. Like, we're gonna thank you, all right, but not in the way that you think. And so, unfortunately, like I said, I think that this season was really, really mismanaged. Now, granted, we had some injuries that we had to get through. We had, Jose Altuve was out, Jordan Alvarez was out for a while. Lance McCullers' just glass elbow is just ridiculous. Luis Garcia got hurt. Jose Urquidy got hurt. So we've had a lot of things not go our way, and we were one game away from winning the AL again, and it just infuriates me that much more,
Yeah. Well, I
that
mean,
much more. So,
look, under circumstances that we've had here in Anaheim, Los Angeles, whatever the hell you want to call us, Western Hemisphere,
right,
um, I just feel that, like we're jealous of that kind of success. The Houston Astros, before you guys moved into the AL West, were trash. On pardon my French, but they were bad, and now they've had such success. There's that high expectation every year, and so
right.
yeah, I mean I could tell like we've had our rifts with our managers over the years too. So it doesn't surprise me that you would have a rift with Dusty Baker. He's always been hot and cold, whether he was in Cincinnati with fans or in San Francisco. We had our issues here with Sosha for a long time. There was a rift between fans, whether they liked him or not. But like I got to ask you this now that you explained everything in the position that the Astros in, because I think we all saw that too. I think things had to work a certain way for Texas to get where they did.
Mhm.
And I think having you guys down for a bit and not playing at your best, that obviously helped them, even though you guys caught them, but then they got that last springboard into the postseason. How surprised were you to see Texas not only win that division? Because we were starting to call it here on this podcast that they were just going to get a wild card and then get tripped up in the first or second round. But how surprised were you, like we were, that they went all the way?
Um, Mildly surprised. I really honestly thought that the bullpen was going to implode on itself and was going to
Yes.
be that, their Achilles heel, and they are that was the epitome of bend, don't break. Uh like I mean, this is the time, Aroldis Chapman, that you wanted to like figure shit out. Like, what are we doing here, right? Okay, like you couldn't have imploded like one time. I mean, like really?
Yeah.
So, I will say I will tip my hat to Bruce Bochy because Bruce Bochy fucking outmanaged
Oh yeah.
circles around Dusty Baker,
Yeah.
and so hats off to you, Bruce Bochy, on that. Um, you know, I also like a little assault in our wound over here. Like he trusted Evan Carter, his rookie Evan Carter, in the outfield in left field out there over proven veterans, quote unquote, and he rolled with them and he moved them up. He moved him up in the lineup like when it warranted, and we we had been screaming at any point in time, for the love of God, just put in Yainer Diaz. Like, we couldn't win a fucking home game at Minute Maid.
Yeah.
And the two guys on our roster that had the best OPS pluses at Minute Maid sat for most of those games.
Hmm.
Like Yainer Diaz, I think had like a 132 WRC plus, like at Minute Maid, and the boy didn't see any freaking playing time. Like Chas McCormick, second highest OPS, like, nope. Mauricio Dubon, come on down. Like, what are we doing, Dusty? Like, why?
Do you think if the
No.
shoe was on the other foot, would not Dusty, but Bruce play the analytics or go with his gut? Because he seemed to me when they got that job, I was like, okay, the Rangers are going to be good in a couple years. I wasn't expecting a World Series, but I was expecting them to contend this season. And seeing all the small ball, like those guys were very unselfish.
Mhm.
Are you an analytics woman, or do you believe it needs to be more of gut or a balance?
I think there definitely needs to be a balance. I mean, I will lean more towards, the analytics, but, I mean, for sure, like, I don't wanna go full on, like, Rays, we're gonna platoon, this guy and shelter him against lefties at all time, every time, but I lean more towards the analytics. So, like, we could have gone a couple more wins at the very least if, we didn't play Martin Maldonado into the fucking ground. And I don't know, like, say we sit him in
Yeah.
like the 7th inning, or I don't know, with maybe like we don't let him hit for himself when there's 2 runners on and 1 out and we're only behind a run. I don't know, but, again, I don't know ball, so that's neither here nor there.
No, I think
So
I think you, I think you sound pretty good with your takes because I mean, I'm telling you, like the way I look at it too is I thought Houston was more dangerous a couple years ago before they had to change managers to Dusty when they were laying down bunts. You'd see surprise stuff by Altuve and others, Bregman. You need that, and I think that's what Bochy brought. And yeah, with Maldonado, I feel you on that one because it seems like, and the running joke here when we would play Houston last year was, well, if Maldonado's in the lineup, please, for the love of God, I'm at the games yelling, don't pitch to Maldonado. He's got like an 800 OPS against us, or an average of like 400. He doesn't hit anybody except us. I mean, he'll rip them off the wall, hit home runs. Dude always comes up with guys on base, and I think it's opposite for everybody else. So I feel you on that. Because during the playoffs, I was like, why aren't they pitching hitting for Maldonado right here?
yeah, no, because Dusty Baker does not believe in pinch hitting unless it's like the bottom of the ninth with like 2 outs and the score is already out of hand. That's when Dusty Baker likes to pinch hit for people. This
Wow.
is and I feel so bad because like I literally feel like I'm beating a dead horse on this, but it drives me absolutely fucking insane. I'm like, what are we doing? And even it cracked me up when people from other teams would be like, why are you not making the obvious baseball move that like 99% of baseball people would make? It's
No,
it's
it
because
makes.
he's Dusty Baker. That's what he does.
Yeah, he should have rode out on top, but I guess he was guessing he was going to go out on a two-peat or back to back, but I guess not.
No, no, and it kind of drove us insane because he was like, "Well, we're just gonna play this championship game like we've played all of the other games. Why are you gonna do that? Don't do that. Like, no, sir, that's not what we want to do. It's a championship game. We should be a little bit more invested. No,
Oh
cool,
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
love that. Yeah,
All hands on deck and anything goes at any time. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
how it should be. That's how this game was built. Now I want to move on now real quick. To the AL West and how it kind of looks right now. And obviously, there's still a lot to be done in free agency and player development through spring training and who's going to be hurt and who's going to be completely healthy. But initial looks to the new season coming up here, I have to. I want to see if you agree with my take. I get the feeling it's going to be a flip flop, but an edge again to Texas winning that division, Houston the wild card, and possibly the Mariners a wild card, us finishing fourth, and then Vegas and whatever team they decide to be, Oakland, wherever they play, fifth place. Do you think that's how it plays out next season?
I don't. Um, I don't want to sound like a Astros homer, but
Mhm.
I honestly believe that we will win the division again. I think it's going to be a dogfight between us and the Rangers. I
Mhm.
don't think we're going to run away with it, but I think the fact that I think that Yainer Diaz is going to um, be our everyday catcher, and there's just not going to be a black hole down there in the catching position, is going to help us immensely. I think that Joe Espada is going to utilize Jose Abreu in the way that he needs to. And I don't know, maybe we don't run our 36-year-old first, baseman into the ground and give him some rest days. Or, like maybe we have him play DH and have somebody else like do first base for a little bit. Like, so I think that um there's going to be those like tiny moves that are made that I think are going to help us immensely, which could have helped us this last season, but that's neither here nor there. So I think that with those moves, and I think, you know, our backup catcher Victor Carantini that we just signed, switch hitter, also decent with the bat. So now instead of having, like Maldi down there with I don't know, like a 169 batting average and Jainer Diaz with, like a 280, um, it'll even out a little bit more. The outfield carousel that we had with Chas McCormick and Jake Myers and freaking Corey Julks and Mauricio Dubon being thrown in there, I think will sort itself out, and I think we'll let everybody play a little bit more easy, a little bit more free, maybe not have the mental gymnastics going on and like, I don't know, having them like press and be like, oh my God, I got to play really, really well, or else I'm going to get benched again. Because it was kind of a running joke here in Houston that if you were not one of Dusty's guys, like you just basically had to like play just out of your mind, and then maybe you'd get another chance to play. Meanwhile, Dusty's guys could make, routine plays and not make them wonderfully,
And
Mauricio Dubon. Um, and then play like every day, all day. So it's one of those things. So I think with those choices, I think that Joe will kind of iron out. I think we'll be good. And I'm not saying that I don't trust the Rangers starting rotation, but let's just say that I don't trust the Rangers starting rotation.
yeah, they still got a lot of young guys coming through. We don't know what they're going to do with the vets and everything moving forward. I'm surprised as hell. Andrew Heaney's got a title before Mike Trout does. And I
Yeah.
don't see him getting one with this ownership. And speaking of which, let me move over to us real quick. It has been a depressing last couple weeks for Angel fans in general. It started, the last couple weeks have been bad, but I got to tell you, Susie, since the day Artie said, I've got unfinished business with his list, I was so pissed off. We were all like, F this guy, because Artie is the worst owner in baseball, and he gets such a pass by the media, and it's insane what he's done to this franchise and how we have zero expectations, and now we're out there with Oakland fans when we play Oakland chanting the same thing. What is your perspective, or what have you been hearing from other people that have been on your show, or what have you been thinking and saying about our Angels out here in Anaheim? Because we hear it locally, but obviously you're in Houston, you talk to other people around the nation. What do you think? What are your
I
thoughts about the Angels?
I feel so bad for y'all because it's not like you're I mean, it's not like you're, the A's and not making moves at all. I mean, like you went out and you signed Anthony Rendon and then he broke whatever he broke, or maybe didn't break. I don't know. Doesn't want to talk to the media,
Supposedly,
whatever. Yeah, supposedly. But you went and you signed Joe Urshela, and then he broke
just
his
pelvis.
pelvis. Like, how do you break a fucking pelvis? Like, what?
We
I'm
find ways. We find ways,
yeah.
Susie.
I was like, I'm like, is the baseball field like on some sort of like Indian burial ground or something? Like, I don't understand how everyone gets hurt.
I will say this, Susie. We have had the 99-cent store or Dollar Tree, what is it called? Physical, the physicians,
Uh-huh.
doctors and training. The training staff's been terrible. I mean, when some of the guys have left, they've come back, and we've heard on our show that we've done interviews where they say they don't even do any of these what is it, mainstream exercises. They do real weird diets. Like
Really?
sometimes they say, hey man, they don't provide, like the Angels don't provide for some of their players sometimes, especially their minor leaguers. So they'll be like, oh, just go get some fast food. They literally told them to get
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
no. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. So they don't do yoga. Yoga's not allowed. I mean, all the things that normal baseball teams do, the Angels don't do it. Like if you go to one of our games, Susie, especially here at home, you'll see, or if you see the Angels go there, at least I don't know what the new regime is going to have because supposedly they finally fired the training staff. But before you would go to games, you'd see
Uh-huh.
the other team working out, running, doing drills, batting
Right.
practice. Angels never did batting practice. They weren't running the track. Nobody was exercising. Mike Trout, the last 3 years has been lazy as fuck. Like he doesn't do anything outside of golf. So I mean, this team has been a train wreck, and then every year Angel fans are like, I don't understand how we're getting injured. Duh, just look at them. They're a mess.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay, that's fair. But well, but they're not like soft tissue injuries. I mean, like I said, like I mean, like I said, you signed Gio Urshela and then you broke his pelvis. Like, didn't you signed like Logan O'Hoppe, like when he broke his face? Was that a comebacker to his
I think
face?
no, that
No.
was let's see. We had a couple
He was your
face
first
shots.
baseman.
No, yeah, we had a outfielder that got the broken face. We had our first baseman drill our pitcher in the back of the head. He was out with for a while.
Well, but Logan O'Hoppe broke something, right?
It was
Logan
it was
O'Hoppe's
his
your catcher.
wrist. It was his wrist.
Okay, so and he had been raking for you guys. So
Yes.
like he broke his I'm like I don't understand how everyone's breaking all of the things, but like so Logan O'Hoppe broke his wrist.
Mhm.
And then was it Taylor? No, who's your first baseman? Who is your first baseman?
Oh, right now
Uh
it's
it's
Shauna Will.
Nolan Shonwell. No, it was before Shonwell. It was crap, blonde guy.
One guy.
I want
Uh
to say it was um Tyler something.
no,
I'm gonna have I'm gonna
yeah,
have to
because
look
we
it up.
we've had so many injuries, it's hard to keep up. All,
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say is that with this team, like before I get your take on it, I just gotta finish off saying that this team had so many issues last year, and it wasn't even like, if it wasn't the training staff, it was the players getting hurt, Rendon making up injuries. Then you had, you know, the coaching staff was terrible. Like we joked about it all year. The commentators love the launch angle. They love talking about how far a home run went. It's like, okay, that home run's great and all. It's another solo blast because nobody takes a walk, nobody goes for a hit. It's all launch angle, and we're still down 7. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
just the
Shohei Ohtani pitched a gem, struck out 43 and hit a grand slam, and you lost by 3.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. I mean, it was tiresome watching a guy like him put on such a performance. He hits 44 home runs. You'd expect he'd have 130 RBIs. He's like, nope, got 92 RBIs. Nobody
yeah,
can get on base. So, I
right.
mean, what did you hear about us being so lousy again, other than the injuries?
It it was surprising, kind of. I mean, like, it was just one of those, like, I don't understand how it's happening kind of things, like I mean, you had Shohei, you had Mike Trout, and then, you had some pieces that were doing well. I mean, Rendon before all the injuries happened, like did well for y'all for a little bit,
COVID
and
season.
then just you know.
Yeah.
So it was a little mind-boggling, I'm not gonna lie, like, it was one of those, like, I don't understand how it's happening, but somehow it's happening kind of deals. Um, you had some promising young pitchers, and so it was one of those where you're like, "Alright, well, we're gonna see how this pans out. Oh, and now you're gonna pick up Lucas Giolito? Like, wait, what?" Like,
Yeah, we're trying to keep the ball in the park, guys. And then we
yeah,
get
like
the worst home run pitcher.
Like, are you sure you wanted to sign Lucas Giolito? Okay, all right, that is a choice that you made. Um, I but my question is though, like, how do you guys feel about Ron Washington? Are you excited? Are you apprehensive? Like, what's the temperature there?
I think there's an overwhelming like split down the middle with Angel fans, whether you're on the honk side or the true Angel fans. That's what they call again, like the the myopic fans is the honks, the Halo honks. And but I think there's a 50-50 because people respect who Ron Washington is and what he did and what
Mhm.
he stands for and what he could implement. But then there's always that, yeah, but is Artie going to let him do what he wants? Because he held back Joe Madden. You know, if you listen to his podcast, if you read his book, you know, he goes very descriptive on how, you know, pushy Artie is with everything. You know, he has
Mhm.
his hands involved in everything. I just don't think, no matter who you bring in there, Tommy Lasorda, I don't think it's going to make a difference unless you let your people do what they're supposed to do. And if you're a meddling owner, you're just never going to win.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what Ron does with that infield. I mean, like I know he's the manager now, but I kind of feel like he's going to be out there still doing infield drills with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like there's no doubt. I believe he's going to try to bring back the old school baseball. You know, bunting, hitting and running, sort of the stuff Mike Scioscia did here, and I think that would breed success with the young players we have. I think because we took them out of their element last year. You know, Zach Neto shouldn't be swinging for the fences. Logan O'Hoppe shouldn't have been doing that, but that's what they were doing. And I think all
Right.
those coaches are gone and I'm hoping they get back to contact baseball. And if they do, I believe they could be as good as that starting rotation can get them. And I think with Otani gone, there's no 6 man rotation. There's no, hey Patrick, you're gonna have to pitch. You know, we're gonna move you out of your routine and back another day, or you're gonna move you up because Otani needs that day off. I mean, look, I love Otani. Never had a bad thing to say about him. Was an ambassador to the game. One of my favorite Angels of all time. However, he did do some bad here as far as being a diva as much as Trout was and just making people work around him. And I think that messed up, you know, had that affected guys like Patrick Sandoval, Griffin Canning, and
Mhm.
Reed Detmers in their style of pitching. I mean, nobody could get into a groove last year.
Yeah, and like I said, so I was in like 43 fantasy leagues last season. I say 43. I that is an exaggeration. I think I was in 6.
Okay, I thought you were going to
6.
say that's an exaggeration. 42.
No, no, 6.
Okay,
But 6 fantasy leagues, I mean that it's a bit much.
that's a lot.
So, um so I had I picked up Reed Detmers and I picked up Patrick Sandoval on like various days
Mhm.
when they would, like strike out 12. And and then the Angels would somehow inevitably lose. And I'm like, what is happening? But like I'm like, is Reed Detmers just going back and being like, thanks guys, appreciate y'all. Like I felt
Yeah.
so bad, like he tried, he really, really tried. But then, like Jimmy Herget would come in and give up 4. You're all, "Oh, okay, just kidding." Sorry, Jimmy Herget. Like, I feel bad. But, I mean and then, like, trading away your closer at one point, I was like, "Why? What are you doing over there?
Mhm.
Okay, like, sure." And I don't remember who the piece was that the Braves gave you guys. Um, I was about to say for Renhefo, but
And we got
that's
a
not it.
bullpen piece out of it.
Okay.
It's to me, Rossiel Iglesias, I hated seeing him go. You know, we we had an adventure last year with 3 or 4 different closers. Um and I thought this season the bullpen on paper before it started was decent enough to get the job done.
Mhm.
That was one of our Achilles heels. And I was joking with a friend and I said it on the post game a bunch of times. You know, I have never been to a game where what is it called? An outfielder or a
Uh-huh.
position player would come in and pitch and have to pitch an inning to get out of a jam because, you know, they're getting beat. And I was at 3 of the 4 games that they had 4 games last year where we had a position player come in and try to pitch out of an inning and miserable is I can't explain how miserable that was to watch. And one was against the Rangers where they scored, I think, 12 runs in one inning, and we put an infielder in.
Oh,
So
I remember that game. I
yes,
do remember that game. Or, what was that Rocky series where, like, it was, one of the games, I think you guys, like, scored, like, 18
we
or
scored like
something?
20 something runs. I think it was like 26 or something like that. It was weird. It was we scored a lot,
Yeah.
and we outscored them. The funny thing about that series, Susie, is we outscored them. I think 39 to like 20, and we lost
But
the
you
series
lost the
2 games.
series.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and being like, am I seeing this correctly? Hold on. It's the Rockies? What's happening?" Yeah, I had to tune in on that one too. I felt bad. I did. But
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, why?" See, and this is again one of the mind-boggling things that like that happened to y'all.
Hmm. I mean,
So,
I've heard the Indian burial ground that you brought up several times. I don't know if we built it here on the where Anaheim Stadium is or
uh-huh.
Tempe Diablo, which is the rumored one where our spring training facility is. So that's where it's always been rumored. There used to be a burial ground right there.
Ay, ay, ay. That's maybe something I don't know, but what are you feeling like the Angels will be better now that I mean, I say better, like relatively better, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, you've got some pieces that I feel like if it all like, gels and like works out, I feel like maybe it could work. Maybe, hopefully.
Well, the sad thing is here's like the hype for me. If we're able to get a like a JD Martinez, a
Mhm.
Blake Snell, and a Marcus Stroman, that's like the
Okay.
top ceiling right there. If with everything that's gone on with Otani leaving and everything, because I think every Angel fan was, even the honks were like, okay, Otani's not coming back. We get it. It's fine. But we just didn't want him to go where he went. I think that's what hurt us all. And,
Yeah.
and for the money and how to be, that's another story we'll get into in a minute. But I think for the is my take for this year. If we're able to get those three players along with what we already have, I feel we can contend maybe for a wild card. And that's and that's if everyone stays healthy. I'm not counting Rendon because for me, I would like to have Urshela back, and I'd like to have Mustakis back, and they could platoon
Okay.
on first and third base.
Okay.
Because they're gonna have to take some at bats for Will at times, and also for Rendon because I don't expect him to play even half a season. So like I would like that, and I think they would contend with those pieces and possibly push for a wild card with Ron Washington's help. But the way it's gone, the way we're not hearing that the Angels are usually like every year, like in on this guy, in on that guy, I'm more thinking that we'll be lucky to hit 500, to be honest.
Oh, okay. All right. That is I was gonna say bleak.
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
mean, we had a stretch there in 2000, obviously after the World Series, '02 to about, I'd say 2011 or 2010, where the expectations were high every year. I mean, they were in the
Right.
postseason. They were pushing every year. They had good teams on the field. They were making good free agent moves. We just have not seen anything like that since 2014, and that's a long
Right.
drought.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. This is my kind of crazy hot take. Tim Anderson on a 1-year contract as your shortstop.
No.
Thoughts on that? No? Why?
I like Neto where he's at. I think Tim Anderson from 2 years ago, possibly. I don't know what happened to Tim Anderson the last couple of years, um, but I just don't think he's
He's
the
had some
right
baby
guy.
mama drama. He's
He
had some
has.
baby mama drama and some off-field stuff, and I think I here here's the reason why I say that I think Tim Anderson could have a bounce back year. You get Tim Anderson out of Chicago
Mhm.
into a better clubhouse, and with Ron Washington,
But
I
but
think that's the key.
but
I
I
think
would
he could
say
have a
this.
bounce back year.
Okay, I respect that. I'm not poo-pooing on that. All I'm saying is it a better clubhouse? We've had since Torrey Hunter has been here, or
Uh-huh.
since he's gone. We haven't had one leader in this clubhouse. Mike Trout's not a leader. Otani was never a leader. Nobody stepped up and yelled, had closed door meetings. That stuff that used to happen in the social era, a
Uh-huh.
little bit prior, in a little bit in the Madden era, but not really. We we don't have that kind of leadership. I mean, Moustakis came in on a free agent deal or trade last year from Colorado and
Mhm.
instantly became a leader. So
Yep, I remember that.
I think Tim Anderson, if he had a leader to guide him and keep him in check, maybe, and get him back to the way he was, I'd say yes. But I
Okay.
don't think we have that kind of player that if he were to act up like Anthony Rendon, see, nobody checks Rendon because we don't have a leader. Like someone
Right.
should be grabbing him by the neck or punching him or something. And
So,
no,
like so Mike Trout is not that guy? Like,
no, Mike
no?
Trout's like, as soon as the game's over, he doesn't do interviews. He goes home to his wife and kid, and then he'll call
Okay.
Tiger Woods up and be like, "Hey man, how's the golf course going? When can I go out there and play around with you?"
So, okay, so then would you guys be okay with, because the whole hot take or whatever would be trading Mike Trout to the Phillies?
I do it
Like,
heartbeat. I do it in a
heartbeat.
heartbeat. I love the guy, but what have you done for me lately? And I love the name on the front, not on the back. And everyone's got an expiration date. And if you're not willing to be that guy, and I love your numbers and everything, but if we can get a haul back for you or release a couple players and lose that contract, sign me up. Did I lose you on that take? I might have lost her on the take. I might have shocked her.
I don't know what happened. I think my internet was like, "Just kidding. It's too hot to handle." Sorry. Okay, so I the last thing I heard was that you would trade Mike Trout in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can get a haul back for him, I was just saying, like, I played for the. I love the team on the front, the name on the front and on the back, and
Uh-huh.
if we were to get a couple players and lose that contract, then I think it's worth it.
Okay. All right. How many more years do you guys have Rendon? I mean, besides 43. I mean, because
I
it's a
think
while.
it's 3 more years,
Ay, ay, ay.
and this is where Suzy. I wish this sport had a football like mentality with contracts. He would have been cut last year for sure.
Right? Well, I mean, I would say, like, I mean, because Madison Bumgarner got cut, like the D-backs were like, Madison, like Mad Bum, like you gotta go. You got to go. Like we'll take a bath and we'll eat the money, but you got to go. Like I don't see Artie Moreno doing that though.
No, and I think he thought he took a big enough hit doing it with Pujols, but he did it like in the last year and a half of his contract, so it wasn't
Mhm.
like one of those things where he cut him 5 years into that big contract. But he's one of these guys, Susie, that just has an enormous ego, bigger than the stadium. And I think he saw all the attention going to him negatively if he would have sold, even if he would have sold and got that 3.5 that it was valued at 2.5, but he was getting offers for 3.5. If
Uh-huh.
he was sold last year and his ego got in the way that he didn't want them not to make the playoffs again. He wanted to be that guy to get him back in the playoffs. And it obviously didn't happen. And now we're in a worse spot than we ever thought as Angel fans. And we're just kind of stuck.
That sucks. It's like, yeah, because I feel like if you made a couple of moves,
Mhm.
then I think it would you I mean, you'd have a contender. Like, I mean, let's see.
I mean,
Your
look how notoriously cheap he was last year. I don't know if you caught that when they dumped those players that we just the Giolitos and all those other guys.
Mhm.
They dumped them just in time to get past that luxury tax threshold.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, but and I said this on our last episode of Bourbon and Baseball, but like unfortunately, they're billionaires, literal with a B,
Mhm.
for a reason because like they know this. Like, they're not in the business of like losing money,
Oh yeah.
so they're not owning the baseball team for the love of the game.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Artie
yeah.
Moreno is just like, how much money can I make from this team? Like,
Yeah, think about this. He bought the team from Disney for roughly just under $200 million. and now that's what the team is worth. And Disney's got to be kicking themselves because they were like, man, if we would have just waited for those TV contracts and internet, subscriptions to pop in, we'd be making billions of dollars in this team.
Mhm.
But uh, but yeah, I mean, that's where we're at right now. You got an owner that it is so upset that the Angel fans booed him 2 years ago, relentlessly, that he doesn't even show up at his own stadium. He was only there twice last year. And when they was caught on social media, I was at the game. It was a Tigers game. Someone saw him, took a picture. We posted it on our page, and then fans started booing and chanting, "Sell the team," and he was gone. Like the light in his luxury booth was turned off, and he took off. And it's like and there's a reason why he raised the ticket prices last year, the food prices, the parking. He's just squeezed every inch of more money out of the fans while Otani was there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sucks. That really does suck for y'all. And see, like I said, I became a baseball fan in 2018, so obviously that was in firmly in the Jim Crane era. And so, my husband is like, "You don't know nothing about the Astros. That sucks, Suzy." I'm like, "You are correct. I don't." And we had Drayton McLean before Jim Crane took it over, and all of the things that you're saying is kind of like reminiscent of like what I would hear of like Drayton McLean would do. He just did not care about the team, was just gonna run into the ground and like raise and I'm all, I don't want that to happen again. Like, oh no.
Yeah,
But
be thankful for your franchise. I mean, that franchise right now is one of the models in baseball.
yeah, yeah, I am thankful, but over here, I am hearing on Astros Twitter how cheap Jim Crane is, and I'm like, we need to revisit what you guys define as cheap, guys. Come on now. Like, I understand that you want him to go over like the CBT and like that's what you mean. I'm all, but like we can't call him cheap. Like, it's not a thing that we can do, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've always looked at it this way. It's not how much you spend, it's how you spend it and
Hmm.
where you spend it and where you invest it. And I think back in the day, Disney, I was just talking to my boy Fernando about this, is Disney did not put a lot of money into the actual payroll, but what they did was they had advanced scouting, they had international signings, they took care of the minor leaguers, the organization in general,
Hmm.
and it was just balanced.
Right.
They had a middle of the pack payroll, but it paid off. I mean, they were able to generate players even after Disney was gone. Already his success that he had, his brief success with the Angels, most of it was leftover Disney stuff. And
Right.
then slowly but surely, you could see where he was firing scouts, cutting costs and corners, and this is why the team is where it's at today. So, you know, uh, kudos to the Astros for building an organization that is meant that has high standards for itself, and that's what you need. You have to have a passionate owner and a way of doing things, and the Angels just don't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. I On paper last season, I was like, are the Angels gonna be good? Hold on. Let me see something. And for, like the first like 2 weeks, you were there and then it fell off. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we always get very optimistic in April, and then it sort of slowly just goes down and down and down. And by the time August rolls around, it's like, hey, what's your football team looking like on fantasy? So that's what it gets to.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I mean, at some point, do you see it turning around? Like, do you think that that if for some reason, I don't know, like Artie Moreno loses his head and is like, "Hey, let's tear it down and rebuild." Like, is that an option? Do you think will happen or?
If we're gonna say that Artie's gonna keep it till he dies, he's gonna have to just at some point say, I've got to trust my people, or I've got to talk to other baseball organizations and or Hall of Famers and say, how do we turn this around? What worked in your organization? Ask around, and then hire those people to run the organization the right way. If you still got clear things with Artie on every little thing, whether it be the vending machine all the way up to who do we get in free agency, it's just never going to work. So I'm optimistic because I have to be, but I'm very depressed inside. You know, Like I got to see it to believe it, to be honest.
That's fair. That's fair. So what do you? I mean, you said earlier that you don't think that you're gonna have a 500 record, but like, how many games do you think the Angels will win next season?
uh, I would have to say, barring no injuries and them playing semi-competitive in a tough division, I'd say 76, 76,
Okay. All
and
right.
I'd be happy with those 76 to be honest with you if
Uh-huh.
they're competitive in these games and they're not getting shelled 12 to nothing and they're not losing 9 in a row. But if we're losing 4-3, 6-5, stuff like that, I can live with that. I just don't want to see apathetic play like last year, where sometimes it didn't even matter if they won or lost. It looked like on their faces.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so looking on roster resource Fangraphs roster resource. There we go. Um, so Renjifo's is your second base.
Hmm.
Mike Trout is center field. Brandon Drury is DH. Taylor Ward is left field.
Hmm.
Anthony Rendon is third. Mickey Moniak is right field. Logan O'Hoppe is your catcher. Nolan Shanwell is first, and then Zach Neto is your shortstop. With your depth pieces being Matt Dice, Trey Cabbage, Michael Stefanik, and Joe Adell.
Hmm.
Joe Adell gonna ever figure it out? I always hear him go off in AAA, and then like he comes up, and then I don't. He forgets how to hit. Like what's going on there?
I'm scared that he's the next Brandon Wood. For those who know who Brandon Wood was from a few years back for the Angels, he was a guy who would hit 47 homers, 114 RBIs in the minors, and you're like, oh my God, this is the next Hank Aaron. And they bring him up, and he's batting 208. And I think that's Adele does that. Like when he first came up, I think he was drafted out of high school, so I think he was very arrogant and cocky, and
Okay.
he would not really make plays in the outfield. He'd take terrible angles, make a lot of errors. He's done twice where he's jumped up to try to make a home run catch, or even by the wall, and it goes off his glove over the wall.
Oh.
So he gives up a home run. Um, and there's just a lot of strikeouts with him. I thought what really sucked this year is he got an opportunity, but he got hurt twice. And
Oh, okay.
and the second time, though, right before he got hurt, he was raking. Like he was actually getting hits, home runs, RBIs. He wasn't making errors. And then he got hurt, and that was it. Like he didn't come back the rest of the year. And you're like, damn, dude, he was finally showing something. So I think a lot of Angel fans are down on him because he was supposed to be like the next Mike Trout. But I'd say they're going to have to give him one more year. And I think this is his year right here.
Okay. Is he out of options? Because he's been shuttled back and forth quite a few times.
I think he has one left.
Okay.
Yeah, one left.
Interesting. So you, I feel bad because your rotation feels very, very light.
Well, let me tell you my terrible prediction. This is why I hope I'm so wrong about the Angels.
Uh huh.
Guess who was my my player of the year for the Angels last year, the breakout player of the year for the Angels?
Oh, was it Griffin Canning?
No, but close. It was Jose Suarez.
Oh.
I was like, he watch out for Suarez. He's gonna have a good year. And then I got crap for that all season.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. But yeah, like I said though, I mean, you got Reed Detmers is a guy, but like, is he an ace? Is he your? I mean,
Oh,
he's the Angels' number one pitcher apparently, and I feel very bad. I feel very very badly saying that, but like I mean, obviously he's not an ace for like any other club, but like he is here because that's all you got.
yeah. I mean, look, you could take probably your number 3 through 5 pitcher right now, and he'd
Hmm.
be automatically the ace of the Angels. Probably take the 3 through 5 from any team in the majors, and they'd be the ace of the Angels. That's just how bad it has gotten here. So we've dug a pretty deep hole, and we're hoping that we've hit rock bottom, and there's only one way up. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, but he is pretty good, but he's young. I mean, like, they're all young though. Like,
well, the issue is one word. It's the C word, consistency. This
Yeah.
team has nothing of that, uh, no value in that. They don't make that a priority. These guys can't, they're Jekyll and Hyde, all of them. And if they were to put it together, they could be pretty decent. We're not talking about all stars here, but we're talking about guys who could put things together and make this team fun and a winnable team. But whether it's the coaching that maybe does it this year for them, who knows? But like you said, from the outside onlooker, Reed Detmers can be a decent pitcher. Sandoval could be a really decent pitcher. Canning could be, but the key word is consistency.
Um, I just realized that you have 3 left-handed starting pitchers.
hmm hmm And that's we're trying to get. Look, we had five last year. We had five, and Otani was our only right-hander. So yeah, I know. Playing the
I
percentages.
yeah. Oh, I'm so I'm so sorry.
No, it's
People are like,
okay.
"Oh my god, I hate that Suzy girl. She's totally laughing at us." I'm very sorry, Angels fans.
No, it's okay because we've had a laugh at it so much though that it was funny at first. Now we just cry about it. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like, you almost have to, like, laugh at it or you'll cry kinda
Yeah.
deal. Oh, well, yeah, no, I, I I'm hoping y'all will turn it around because, like, I really want to like the Angels because I really hate the Dodgers.
And that's a good transition, real quick. We'll wind this one down. The Dodgers. Okay. Before I get into your hatred for them, our hatred stems over being the redheaded stepchild. We had a good run when they weren't in their best run, and now they've had their best run. We haven't been anywhere close. And claiming that LA market was really stupid. We've had, if you ask Dodger fans, they're too prideful to say they hate us, but they always boo us and they can't stand losing to us. You just look at social media.
Right.
But they like to say, "Oh no, our only rivals are the Giants and Padres. We don't care about the Angels." But they do because they know what the overall record's been since we played regular season, and there you could tell when the two teams.
What is the record?
We're 7 games over, no, 5 games over 500. We had something like a 20 something game lead on them, and they've whittled it down over the last few years. They've swept us. They've beat us pretty bad. Because I don't think we've had a winning record since Socha against the Dodgers.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
That's
but Socha used to dominate the Dodgers, and the two teams would go head to head and play each other really hard. But we hate them. It's mostly the fans. The fans just make it unbearable. Like they're
yeah.
just in your face, always talking smack. So our Super Bowl is when they choke in the postseason. So I will tell you right now ahead of time before you get into your rant. I just got to say thank you for that year you beat them in the World Series. As Angel fans, I think I speak for all of us when I say you guys didn't cheat. You won fair and square.
Okay. So now everyone's like, "Oh, bang bang fastball." I'm like, "Okay, do y'all not realize that like literally like nobody won a home game? Come on now. Like we won at Chavez Ravine.
Latrine, latrine.
There we go. Okay. Like w so, that's neither here nor there, I'm like so I was like, we're not gonna talk about the guy that you guys hired from the Boston Red Sox, like, the video guy? No, we're not gonna talk about
Oh
that?
no, the
Okay.
Red Sox didn't do no wrong. Remember that?
Oh,
Jeez,
yeah, right.
they get a pass.
Um, yeah, so I just the the Dodgers in and of themselves, I'm like, "Why, guys? Like, why?" Like, it's almost as bad as, like, the Yankee, like, 27 ring people.
hmm
Like, it's so over the top, like, "Oh, we're the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah." Like, okay, so what's your
Yeah.
point? And I guess my, like, hatred for them, like, stems from that, like, 2017 World Series. Now, granted, like I said, I was a baseball fan in 2018. That's when I became a baseball fan.
hmm
So, like, 2017, game 5, my husband had to wake me up on the couch, and he wakes me up by yelling, "Bregman walked it off in the 10th." And I'm like, you're saying words, and I like, individually, I know what those words mean, but then you put them all together in a sentence, and I don't know what the fuck you're saying, and I don't know why you woke me up for this. Like, I was big mad about it, like, very, very upset. Um, and so, when we actually did, like, win the World Series, I was like, "Yay, sports ball, hooray!" I'm like, Okay." And my husband's like, "I don't think you understand what this means to the city of Houston." I'm like, "You're right, I don't, because I don't watch baseball, and I don't understand baseball, and I don't understand sports in and of itself, but I'm happy that you're happy." Like,
Yeah.
hooray. And so, I like I said, and then in 2018 when I started watching baseball and kind of, like, really understanding like, the whole West Coast, East Coast bias that
Hmm.
is there, and then having, like, Houston win, I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I kind of, like, I start understanding now. And then when I really started getting into it and then, like, encountering Dodger fans in and of itself, I was like, "Why are you so hateful? Like, you don't like, you're not part of the team." I realize, like, I'm not part of the team either, but you're literally gonna, like, fight me over like, what is the matter with you? And so, um, like, when you said it's the fans, like, it's really the fans.
It,
Now,
it,
granted, I've met some nice Dodger fans,
mhm.
and so they've kind of changed my attitude a little bit about them. But overall, for the most part, I just really don't like the Dodgers.
Yeah, there's also like for me growing up, I had to deal with Tommy Lasorda's spiel every year here in LA,
Mhm.
and the Dodger arrogance, the fact that the media would only cover them, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Angels played today." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we're always an afterthought. And I thought when they won the World Series, they'd turn it around, and they did for a while. The Angels got some pretty good, you got the bandwagoners, but Dodger fans are super arrogant. I mean, they have fights. They fight with each other. Uh,
Mhm.
I think it's ex-Raider Nation, that the Coliseum fans that are there now at Dodger Stadium. And it's just that arrogance. I mean, it's a tough place to go. I mean, there's when you go there, I don't know if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, Susie, but
I've not.
there is tons of LAPD officers and off-duty officers that have to patrol there. There's a park adjacent to where back in the day you used to be able to tailgate. You can't tailgate there. They closed the entire park, and you can't tailgate in the parking lot. They don't trust their own fans. And at Angel Stadium, you can. You can have full on beer out there and everything. Um, but it's a different environment, and it's pretty crazy. And the fans, like I'm with you, the fans really make it insufferable at times. And I
Mhm.
will say this: when they won their ring pop in 2020, even they don't believe that that was real, because I have this argument with Dodger fans all the time. I'm like, if you guys were really over the Astros because they've played them since the 2020 season, and they get up for it and it's a big story here in LA, I'm like, if you guys were really over that, you would think that that championship was legitimate, because you'd be like, well, we won last time. Who cares?
Mhm.
We're past that. But even they know that that wasn't a real World Series, and
Mhm.
that's why they're still focused in on Houston.
Yeah.
You should hear what they say over here.
Well, and it cracks me up, like, well, and again, I say it's the fans, and one of your relievers, I say one of the relievers, Joe Kelly, just this is why God made me like a small person, because he knew that if he made me like any other size, like a normal size person, I would just be throat punching just motherfuckers just every day, all day, and I would just be thrown in jail. And I would start with Joe Kelly. Like, that whole Joe Kelly thing, I think really, really locked down my hatred for the Dodgers,
Mhm.
and the fact that he tried to be so legitimately, like, hard about it. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, if you wanna fucking fight, just come out and fight. Like, don't keep talking shit in the dugout.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on out.
Because
Talk
all
your
you're
shit."
gonna do is get your other players hurt, because you're gonna get them hit, and then it's gonna turn into a fight.
Yeah, and I just like, it just drove me absolutely insane, and I have my thoughts on Joe Kelly in and of himself, and I just it's and I'm like, I want to I want to like the Dodgers, I want to like Mookie, I want to like Freddie, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I can't because you like, you play for the Dod like, I can't do it. it makes me so mad.
Oh yeah, and again, like you've been a fan since 18, but you're passionate like you've been a fan since like, 98 or so like but with me, you put on that blue and again, I have several Otani jerseys, bobbleheads. My kids love Otani. And it sucks that he put on blue because again, if he goes to Atlanta, I'm a fan of him and I wish him well in Atlanta. If he would have went to Toronto like the rumors were, I was like,
Hmm.
good for Canada, they're gonna get, they may have success, a lot of success up there, and it might bring him another team and or even go to San Francisco. That's fine. Go to San Diego. We can still see you.
Yep.
Really wanted to see him succeed. Now I find myself wishing nothing but the worst for him as far as success in LA. I want them to flatline. I want them to choke some more because now it'll be epic. And now we're gonna get into that real quick before we go. They have now gotten Glass now, who is injury prone. They
Hmm.
got Kershaw gone, maybe till mid-season if he re-signs with the Dodgers, coming off of surgery. You got Bueller coming off of the Tommy John. Oh,
Hmm.
Tony can't pitch next year. Dustin May's coming off of Tommy John. You got a bullpen that's kind of like iffy, except the closer. But you got all those stars in the infield. Now you got Otani, who when Freeman and Betts went cold in the postseason, I guarantee you Otani's not going to do that.
Right.
Are you with all these other sports broadcasters and whatnot, podcasters saying that the Dodgers are the overwhelming favorite because of
Oh
the
no.
with
Oh no.
Yamamoto now too?
No, absolutely not. Because I mean, like the Dodgers have to have a lot of things go right for them in order for this next season to be successful. Like you just laid out, like Walker Bueller is coming off a TJ. Okay, Yamamoto is coming to a brand new league with a different ball, different rules, and he's gonna have to pitch every 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, that in and of itself is going to be a whole new experience. I mean, maybe Shohei can give him some pointers on like rest and recovery and I don't know, sleeping 43 hours a day, but like what else, can you do? Um, you have two baby rookies in that whole rotation of like Bobby Miller and Emmett Sheehan. Tyler Glasnow, who has yet to pitch over 100 innings in like any of the seasons that
Yeah,
he's been a professional baseball player, like granted when he's on, he's fucking lights out, but like what are you going to do?
yeah,
And so that starting rotation has got some ifs. If everybody can stay healthy, it's going to be great. But can they? Can they stay healthy? You have your everyday third baseman is going to be Max Muncy. Really? That's okay. Like Gavin Lux is coming, your shortstop is coming off of knee surgery. Now, I don't, like 36-year-old Miguel Rojas is going to be the backup. Like, what are you doing over there? Okay. Now, Mookie's second base. Cool. All right. So now you move Jason Hayward that you sheltered from left-handers before, but now he's your everyday like right fielder. Who are you? I mean, I guess, they got Manny Margot, so are they going to platoon Manny Margot out there? Maybe. I don't know. James Outman as your center fielder is okay. He's still a rookie. And then, your left fielder is what? Chris Taylor?
yeah. A guy who's batting like 217 on a big contract.
It's granted, yeah, like that 1, 2, 3, 4, you got Will Smith. Will not will not talk shit about Will Smith. I mean, that is a catcher that can hit some home
Oh,
runs. Okay.
as much as I hate the Dodgers and we get any like when we got Tyler Anderson, I'm like, great, we got Dodger trash. But Will Smith, I do not consider trash. That guy is good. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Solid.
You know? So, that top of the lineup there is solid, but like you once you get past that lineup, like there's some holes.
Mhm.
It is not a foolproof lineup. So, like as much as the Dodgers are trying to create this like super team, like there's some big ifs in that lineup.
Well, you're giving me some optimism because when those signings keep going down, I'm like, oh my God, this season's gonna suck. I'm rocking like and crying at the same time because now Yamamoto's there. But again, you bring up some very good points, and that'll lead me to my last point here, if I could. Do you believe baseball's in trouble if this can continue to go for not just the Dodgers, but if another super team emerges, do we need a football like structure where there's a bottom and a top of a salary cap and a floor?
Okay, so, I don't know anything about other sports. Let me just tell you
Okay.
that right now. Like, um, but I mean, we say that this is quote unquote bad for baseball, but I mean, like, look what the Mets did. The Mets tried this last season and obviously it well, not last season, but like in 22, and it didn't work,
Mhm.
you know? And there is something to be said about culture and a clubhouse and working together and not having, like all of these superstars trying to manage egos. Now, will I say that, adding Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto into a clubhouse, is that, you know, going to be detrimental? No, I don't think so. But I feel like maybe there is a reason why the D-backs swept the Dodgers.
Mm.
Like they all of those young guys came up together. They play together. They are actual friends and like hang out off the field. I'm not saying that that's, what the Dodgers need to do. I'm sure that, they have lives and wives and all of that fun stuff, but there is something to be said about like friendships and being having actual fun with the guys that you're playing ball with. Like, yeah, I'm sure, like Mookie and Freddie are besties, but like James Outman, what are you doing over there? Like it's I think that the culture and how one feels about your teammates does play a role in it. So you can build all the superstars you want, but if they're not, homegrown kind of talent somewhere, I just don't I just don't see it being a winning combination.
Okay.
And that's, and I'm sure I'll get somebody's gonna clip that and just be like,
Well,
haha, Suzy, look what we can do.
no, trust me. If you're right and they get punked again, and you see another one of these Cinderella teams win it, you best believe I'm gonna make this into a short. I'll be like, "Look, she called it."
Right? Well, I mean, like our episode title for this last episode that I just recorded before this, was taken from our friend Brandon that does Locked on Twins, I think.
Mm.
And he's like, some men would rather pay 1.1 billion dollars than go to therapy. Like, how badly did did the D-backs like just crush their souls and the Dodgers hearts that they had to go and spend $1 billion, a billion with a B, in order to like beat the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and if they don't win for whatever reason, no matter
Yeah,
what happens, I mean, this is a colossal failure, you know?
yeah,
So it's going to be interesting just for that. I think that's going to be something that's going to keep Angels fans once again glued to TVs in September and October, when our team is far out of it and not in the postseason again. So we're going to make it 10 years in a row, baby. So
we're like,
cool
all right,
decade.
that's the record that we're gonna go for,
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. We're tied with the Tigers for longest drought, by the way. So
Oh, I well, and I feel kind of bad because I feel like the Tigers are maybe gonna be sneaky good this season.
hey, they might. Who knows? I wish we were in the Central. Maybe we'd have a chance. That division sucks.
Right? Maybe. Yeah, Twins are kind of trying to blow it up.
There you
Yeah.
go. Well, you want to promote anything besides bourbon and baseball, which I any Halo honk should go out there, Angel fan, check out her page because again, she's not just focused on the Astros, she
Yeah.
focuses on other teams.
Yeah, we've got I've got two different versions of the show. We have Bourbon and Baseball that I do with my co-host Kelsey, and that we typically record on Sundays, so that's like once a week, and we talk about, and I joke around, that's the all the balls edition. That's all of the baseball teams that we talk about. And then during the season, when the season actually goes on, I will have my co-host Tom, and that will be the Astros edition, and we will record like once per series, going over all of those games and those series. I can't ever say that correctly. Anyways, and so I have those those 2 shows, those are a little bit more rated R. I do another show called Astros in Orbit. If for some reason, Angels fans are like, "Let's see what the Astros are doing," and, want their, like, kids to be able to hear this or something, that's I do a that show that's a little bit more PG-13, and you can find that on the Top Fan Rivalry, website, and that's a little bit shorter. That's I wanna say, like, 20 to 30 minutes. We try and keep those episodes a little bit shorter. So it's like bite-sized
Okay.
Astros news.
Yeah, I've been on Top Fan Robbery with them. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty cool people. Yeah.
I love Bill over there, and like I said, though, it is a little bit more PG-13, over there, and so I have to temper everyone coming from that side over to the bourbon and baseball side, like, just so you know, this is rated R, Susie, over here in the bourbon and baseball world.
Yeah, I found
Um
that out right away with him when I went in on some Dodger jokes and he's like, "Oh, I don't think we could put that on there." I'm like,
You're like,
"Okay."
"Ah, I gotcha." Yeah,
Keep this
it's,
PG.
yeah, it was really funny when we first talked off air, I was like, "So now tell me what the temperature is here, like, how," and he's like, "Well, we try and keep it a little bit more family friendly." I'm like, "Done. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay." And my co-host Tom was like, "So is that," and I told him it was, like, PG-13, and he's like, "How do you talk?" And I was like, "Why do you think the episodes are only, like, 20 minutes long?"
I'm dying to say fuck.
Yeah. He's like, "It's fair. Alright, I got it now." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we hope this isn't the only time. We hope you can come on again, and we'll talk baseball because I'm sure there's going to be interesting stuff to talk about, at least about your Astros.
Um, well, for sure, and we'll definitely have to have you on our show as well. I know, Kelsey would, like I said, would love to talk all the balls and love to talk Angels because, like I said, we have this theory that you're secretly going to sign, well, not so secretly, going to sign Tim Anderson on a pillow deal, straighten him out, and he's gonna have, like, a bounce back he's gonna win, like, bounce back player of the year under Ron Washington's tutelage.
I would love that. I would love for that to happen.
So, we'll in the new year before the season starts, we'll have to get you on and we'll hash that out. Hopefully by then, it'll actually have happened and Tim Anderson will have signed.
And maybe we'll have a couple other players. Hopefully, we'll see.
Fingers crossed, and, Blake Snell and Jay Money. Actually, I would let well, no, Jordan Montgomery's another left-hander. You're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do something about all your left-handers.
It's the right-handed free agents. Damn it!
Alright.
There you go.
Lucas Giolito still.
No, no, no. We've been down that road.
Oh my gosh, okay.
All
So
right. Well, thanks, Susie. And this has been another edition of Halos in the Infield. Till next time.